right, we're recording here with Ross Elwinger. You were just telling me about your pup, the podcast you did with Heath.
Yeah, it was pretty fun conversation because I had two young dogs that I was only gonna. The plan has always only been to keep one, and they were both doing really well, and I was really torn on which one I was gonna keep, and the one I actually ended up keeping is probably not the better of the two, which I typically wouldn't recommend that, but hopefully it works out this case.
Yeah. Why did you pick it?
Because I think she fills some of my weak points a little bit better than the other one. What the other one was really good at, she's a really cold nose and confident trailing dog, and I've already got 3 of those.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one was a little bit harder tree dog, probably a little bit harder bay dog, a little faster. So I felt like she just filled my holes a little bit better. Nice. And I mean, so far, she's been a freaking hammer this winter on bobcats.
How's she doing?
She gets up and
how's she do on links?
She gets up and rolls.
How's she doing links?
I wish I would have found enough to let you know. She did all right. The couple that she was out, and actually, we had a cross behind of a female and kitten. Actually, I think it ended up being 2 kittens, but I thought it was a female and a kitten when we just put those 2 young dogs on them and just let them run it for a while and by themselves. And I don't know, they probably ran it for half hour or 45 minutes, and it was raining and melting, so the conditions were not ideal, but they did pretty well. And then I ended up having to call them off because we had to get somewhere else. So
yeah, I don't know how much of that story there's a lot of train wrecks in that whole trip with you guys. It was I wasn't able to make it because I had employee problems. Go figure.
Yeah, it was one of those trips where it was like, and Heath and I touched on a little bit too, but it was one of those trips where it was like, I should have just stayed home and worked. It just went from bad to worse. And the highlight of the trip is we had good roads the whole way home. So that's, I guess it can always say it could have been worse, but
I don't know if it could have. Like, you guys had a pretty rough go.
It was bad.
Yeah,
it was bad, but
there was some stuff. But anyway.
Oh well.
Yeah. Speaking of that, it was Black Friday, I think, right? Because it was over Thanksgiving. Because I normally would have tried to go up there with you or whatever, but I just couldn't swing it this time. I had it was short staffed and stuff, and one of the new hires that I hired, which was supposed to be helping out, ended up calling in sick on Black Friday, and I'm like, that is not safe to do.
That's not the day.
That's not the day. I was prepping them before, and anyways, so Cyber Monday rolls in, and I was talking to some of the team, and I was like, how this guy comes in here is going to make a big difference. And he came in like it was normal, just like, I just called in on a Friday. I'm like, what happened to you? You know what I mean? Like that. Oh, I had some excuse about moving grandma's stuff or something. And I was like, yeah, that's probably the first one that I've actually just like walked. And I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work. I don't want to, I normally try to work with people pretty hard, but I was not impressed.
Some things and some days are pretty much deal breakers.
Yeah. That's the worst part of the, like, and I say that because I have some really good employees too. So I have like, but man, dealing with employees and trying to, over the years, that is definitely the hardest part of the whole deal.
For sure. I'm with you.
They always, I don't want to say they think they know, but everybody's got an opinion, and myself included, and I'm wrong a lot of times. Like, I know I'm wrong. I'm like, we're going to do it wrong just because that's the way we're going to do it. But sometimes I was one of them. I was like, I forget what it was, but he kept questioning the way I wanted to do it. He's like, well, I don't think we should do it. Don't do it that way. Why are we doing that? Why? And he kept asking me, questioning me. I said, well, because my name's on the door, so that's just the way we're going to do it. I'm sorry. And he just looked at me, and I go, I really don't mean to be a dick, but like, that's why we're going to do it this way. I don't have any other reason. I'm not going to explain it no more. But we've been doing this for 10, 12 years, and you've been here for 3 weeks, and I'm not really ready for you to start pitching in the advice and making.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that was my excuses on Black Friday for ditching you. But yeah, I'm glad I did. To be honest with you.
Oh yeah. I mean, you
guys had issues. I knew when we
scheduled it that time. Yeah, I knew when we scheduled it at that time, you'd have a hard time swinging it. Honestly, you dodged a bullet.
Yeah, weather's been rough.
Unless you would have came up and stayed a couple days after, because the morning we had to drive home, it was snowing like crazy, and they had good hunting for several days after that. So
yeah,
that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, when you're committed, like that's the one thing is you got to have. And that's kind of why they do a 5-day or whatever, is because normally
you should catch a couple days of decent, but
not you.
We didn't. Not me.
Yeah. So, well, one of the things we want to talk about here, like they just announced that ShotShow. ShotShow is wrapping up this week, and one of the new products we can talk about a little bit is that new beeper, which again for hound hunters, they can tune out. We'll just try to not make it too boring for them. We'll cover a little bit on the new Garmin beeper collar, what it is. And don't let me forget, I want to talk a little bit about WBHA dinner. We got dinner tickets that we need to sell for any of the Wisconsin guys. And other than that,
sure.
Topics are open.
Yeah, so how are you liking that beeper? You messed around with it at all?
Yeah. And on Sadie, for bird hunting over here, like, and I don't do a ton of it. Like I'm not like a professional by any means, but it is nice when you can't see the dog in the grass to hear the sound and be like, oh, it's right there.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The last couple of days I've been, seeing all the Facebook ads pop up from the different dealers or whatever selling it. There's some people that are like, why the hell would you even mess around with that thing again? The best day of my life was when they came out with GPS and you didn't have to use beepers and stuff anymore. And man, all I can tell you is if you're saying that, it's because you hunt somewhere that you can see your dogs all the time.
Yeah. And because
yeah, exactly. I mean, where I spend most of my time in the grouse woods and stuff, I'm absolutely pumped for it because there's a lot of times where, you're looking at your GPS and it'll tell you your dog's 15 feet this direction or whatever. And I walk 15 feet that direction. And then it tells me it's 15 feet the other direction. And I still can't see her.
Yeah.
And I'm hitting the tone button, like trying to hear that tone button. And, I was absolutely pumped to see that Garmin was coming out with a beeper. And the other thing people have complained about is how loud they are.
Yeah.
Which that was the case back in the day. A lot of those beepers only had one volume level, and like me, I would pack like cotton balls or foam or something in that speaker to tone it down a bunch. But this new beeper, I think there's 3 levels. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And the quietest level is very, very tolerable. That's what I run.
Yeah.
95% of the time will be that quietest level. And if it's really windy or something, you might have to turn it up to the medium. But that quietest level, especially with the GPS, because, you can get to within 20 yards pretty easy, just, looking at your GPS. And, but I'd say even on the lowest level, I mean, you can hear them 50 yards away as long as it's not a windy day. And, I'm extremely excited about it. extremely excited.
Some of the, with that sound, talking about the sound on medium and high, Sadie, I mean, absolutely does not like it. Like, and I think it's because their ears, you know what I mean? That puts that speaker right below their ears. And I mean, it's just super loud. It took me a while to get her acclimated to the sound, just the sound going off. I don't know what your dogs did, but my dogs, as soon as that beep was on, she was like, well, come right back to me like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, you're going to have that. It's just like putting a bell on a dog. Like, I don't know if you've ever run bells on dogs.
Yep,
I know some houndsmen do. I run some cover dog field trials a little bit, and there you can't use a GPS. So that's what you put on the dogs as bells. And anytime you put something foreign on your dog like that, it's going to take them a little bit to get used to it. Some dogs acclimate pretty quick, and some dogs, it's almost like, oh man, this dog is never going to get used to this, but they all eventually will.
Even my hounds, when I was walking Sadie with, like just playing, I'll take her for a walk and trying to acclimate her to it. Man, the hounds didn't like it at first. And then after a while, after they watched me ignore that, because the tone's a little different. I even had my hounds ignoring it after that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And hounds seem to acclimate to that stuff better than a lot of bird dogs. Their personality is just a little tougher,
Yeah, Sadie's definitely a wimp, man. She's a weenie compared to. We always joke that like she's a little baby compared to some of the hounds.
Yeah.
You see how they're yours, or you got short hair?
Yeah, right? But I think that's a lot in the breeding. A bird dog is bred to work with you. So they're naturally, genetically, they're a lot more connected to you than a hound is. And because of that, I think it makes them a little bit softer to those external things going on, whereas a hound a lot of times kind of got more of a one-track mind.
Yeah.
Of course, these are general statements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody can give me an example of a hound that's super soft, and somebody can give me an example of a bird dog that's, doesn't give a shit about you. But that's in general. That's, I think that has a lot to do with it.
I see that in my pack as far as the way the hounds are, and like in the house, the dogs are in the house or whatever, and I'll play with them, or so Kit, my youngest pup, I guess she's over a year now, maybe getting on a year and a half, 2 years, I don't know, like it's hard to keep track, but
she's got to be getting close to 2 because you had her in British Columbia the first time I was with you.
I know, we were looking at pictures and I seen that, and they were like, you took her to, so she was young when I did. She had to be like just 6 months old, or even less than that, probably 4 months. Anyways, she does this thing where she's real submissive to me, you know what I mean, like in the house, and she'll show her teeth to me. She'll grin her teeth at me if I start
smiling.
Yeah, she'll smile at me. Like, she doesn't do it to anybody else, and it's a submissive thing that she's doing. And I'll start, I'll yell at her or whatever. I'm playing with her, but I'm like, rah, 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 and she'll just show her teeth, and I'm like, show me your teeth. She just grins, and so it's become a kind of thing. She's getting comfortable with me, learning that I'm playing. You know what I mean? But at first, it was like, I think she was like, "Oh crap, Dad's pissed."
Oh yeah.
Everybody walks on eggshells around him, but yeah, she's been a really fun dog. But even I don't even know where I was going with that. But in my plays, when I'm yelling and pretend mad, I guess is what you call it. I'll be pretend mad, and boy, Sadie hits the couch and is just like, "Oh shit, is he for real?"
Yeah.
I can't tell exactly. I think
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the old hounds are just like, "Shut up." You know what I mean? Like, they've learned when they've learned when I tease them. You know what I mean? Because I'll tease them and play with them. They know when I'm. Sure. I mean, if I'm pissed, they're like, "Oh," they sneak out the back door or whatever.
They know when you're for real.
Yeah. But that pup, a lot of times he'll be, going in there, or we'll do like what they call a howl, and one dog will start barking, and I'm like, why are we yelling? And then the next dog will start howling, and the whole house is just like going nuts. They kind of just go weird whenever I do weird things. It's like I'm so straight and narrow that when I start goofing off, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, when things aren't black and white, they're like, oh, now what? Dad's
off his meds, man. Dad's off his meds. So, anyways, it's fun. I've been watching, I do it a lot, but I always kind of pick, even kids or whatever. I'm always joking or doing something, and I've been those dogs. Sometimes when they don't know how to take me when I'm not serious. So, anyways, but that bird dog is definitely the first one to be like, please don't be mad at me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, mine will, like in the house, the hound in the house, she pretty much just sleeps on a dog bed in our bedroom like all day. Whereas the bird dogs, if I'm in the living room, they're in the living room.
Yeah.
If I go in the bedroom for something, they get up, follow me into the bedroom. Whereas that hound, she doesn't give a shit where I'm at. Like, that's her spot.
Yeah, and unless you go for the truck, and she's gonna get the keys.
Yeah, yep. Unless she thinks something's going down, but if not, she it's just a completely different connection there.
Yeah. No, I would say that I really enjoyed having a bird dog. Sadie has been just a super different dynamic of a dog. Like, I can see, and I always, hound guys always have like their own little lap dog or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I've just noticed a lot of times.
Their favorite, yeah.
Yeah, just a different dog, a truck dog. I always had a truck dog or whatever. And having Sadie, it's been like, all right, I can see. I don't know why, but it's like it's just a different ride or die.
Yeah.
Hounds will ride or die until it's time, and then they're like, we're out, peace. And they're gone. But Sadie at least come back and check on me, make sure I don't die.
Yep.
So
the hounds expect you to go find them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're gone. They take off. Yeah. Anyways, but I think I've just noticed some of the old timers and whatever, they'd have a little lap dog or truck dog or whatever, and I never really got it at first. In the day. Now here I am being an old man with my little truck dog. It's not.
Yeah. So did those, we started this talking about beepers. Are those available for order yet?
Yeah.
Are they shipping out?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they shipped. So I don't know if I've gotten, that's a good question. If I don't have them honestly, today, they're soon.
It probably really doesn't matter because it's
hunting season's over.
Yeah, especially for there's still bird hunting going on in Arizona and quail and stuff like that. But I would say for most of those hunters, it's not going to be appealing to them.
Yeah.
And the other thing I will say about that beeper is it switches. Like, if you have that on the point mode, you will be notified that your dog is on point quicker than your handheld will tell you that a dog is on point. That's very beneficial in the grouse woods as well.
Yeah, you're learning that the dog's on point by the sound before the GPS gives you the alert.
Yep, you're going to hear that. You're going to hear that beeper collar start to go off before the handheld will actually show that they're on point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a big benefit for me.
So to answer your question, I think, and I'm going off of memory and hearsay because I didn't follow it down myself, but I believe Garmin has shipped those out. So I know we've gotten a couple already sold, and so they're smoking for it. But I think we'll either get them. Either they showed up today, and I just wasn't around to see them get delivered, or they'll be here Monday. So, but as I understand, they're definitely in stock and shipping.
And you can buy just the beeper and add it to a current collar.
Yeah.
And then you could also buy it as a whole unit.
Yep. $250 for the beeper. You just take the battery off of your 25, screws, take that off, put that on, and then you'll have it on there. Or if you don't have a TT25, you can just buy the whole system with the collar. And it's like $600,
Sure.
I think. It doesn't save anything. It's $350 plus the beeper box. So we'll probably just offer them with the beep or without the battery or the 25. And if somebody wants it, we'll just add the 25 and build it for them. Sure. I think that's going to be easier than trying to manage SKUs for, somebody's going to want a mini and somebody's going to want a full size or whatever. So it's just better for us just to build it and just add it.
That makes sense.
So it's been,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I've used the Tritronics beepers a little bit. And so that part of it I like. I mean, like I said, it's definitely no benefit that I see for the Hounds. It doesn't do, what it should do. Yeah, I don't even want to go down that road. I was going to be like, I wonder if it fixes bark detection. Because it changes the case. So I wonder if it makes things vibrate differently.
Well, you would make a lot of guys happy.
No, because they'd be bitching about buying $250.
Having to buy $250 to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. To just have put the speaker. But like in my mind, I actually had a guy asking about bark detection earlier this week, and I was like, "Here's the deal. As far as I understand, there's really no difference in the software." And there's no difference in the hardware between the 15X and the TT25. And I agree. I concur that the 15Xs, the bark detection works better than the 25s. I mean, I never really liked them on the 15Xs. They never worked for me good enough for me to use them a lot, but they did register barks more than my 25s did. And the only difference that I can deduct is the casing, is different casing. Mm-hmm. And so in my head, and I don't really want to go down this bark detection problem because I don't want the problem. And then people start expecting me to fix something I can't fix. Right. And so I'm like, I'm normally just like, I'm out, like bark detection doesn't work. And hopefully Garmin will do something about it, but I just don't have any hope that they will. But if it were my problem, if I were the engineer in charge, I've often thought like if you JB welded something on that case to just change, because if what I understand is true, that the hardware is the same and the software is the same, and the only difference is the case. Yep. It has to be the way sound vibrates that case, because it's all based off of vibration. There's no microphone. It's vibration. So they're measuring vibrations. Yep. And so I've often thought, well, maybe if you stick a little plastic 1-inch circle, 1/4-inch rod, like a stub, like a bolt or something stupid that stuck out the side of it, but that picked up vibrations differently, that whatever their sensor is could, that sound hit that post or that stub or that antenna, because sound is basically just, just like radio waves, you know what I mean? Like, yep. It's no different than
bounces off.
Yeah. It bounces off of things. It's just a different frequency on the radio. You know what I mean? So our Garmin's or our VHF radios that we use, all based off of 156 megahertz, right? Or whatever the channels we talk on. You can't see them, but they kind of hit that antenna, and then it drives down the antenna, and then it converts it over to the electricity and sound and all that kind of stuff. Well, that bark detection, like in a rudimentary way, it's the same thing. It's picking up a vibration and converting it to an electrical signal. And so I'm like, man, I wonder if you JB welded kind of an antenna that somehow, resonated with vibration, and the electrical signal could be made. I don't know. That's just where my my geeky brain goes.
I mean, it could be something just as simple as the plastic housing of the TT25 is like not quite as dense as the plastic housing of the 15.
Yep, exactly.
My take on it is, because Garmin came out with 5-6 updates that were supposed to make it better and didn't.
Yeah.
And to me, it seems like they've kind of just thrown up their hands and be like, yeah, we can't fix it with the 25.
Yeah.
Maybe the fix will probably be when they come out with a 35. Hopefully.
Yeah. Whatever it's going to be, I agree. I don't know that if I was a betting man, I don't think we're going to see a fix come out that sufficiently fix it so that people are happy, are satisfied. You know what I mean? I should say.
Yeah, because it's not even close still.
No.
I mean, it's not. I don't blame people for being mad. I mean,
yeah,
I wish mine were like the 15s too, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to not go hunting, I guess.
Yeah, nobody wants to stop using them.
No, and the benefits I've got from the 25, like I can go right now when I'm cat hunting, because my dogs are in an enclosed aluminum dog box. So the collars being on them, I lose signal and then it takes it forever to pick it back up. So I don't even put my collars on my dog until I find a track right now.
Right.
And I'm going to turn them loose. And so that collar might only be on for an hour or two that day. I mean, I can hunt for a week right now and not even have to think about charging my stuff. Like that is, it's nice. I mean, I think I would rather have that than the bark detection working right now.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, other guys would probably disagree with me just based on where you're hunting and what you're hunting and that type of stuff. But in my opinion, the benefits of the 25 still outweigh even without the bark detection.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting. I tell people, I'm like, I almost, and I don't know, I need to double check, but I even want that feature off of my website. So I'm like, I don't even want to sell it with that feature listed. You know what I mean? Because
sure,
if people ask me, I tell them, don't expect bark detection to work. I want to be really honest with people. And, if people don't ask me, I don't want to be like, well, your website said it had bark detection. I'm like, so I need to make sure that I preface that. It's like,
it didn't say it works.
Exactly. It's got it.
It says it has it.
Exactly. And so, anyways, I was talking to a guy earlier this week about that. And then the other thing I think about, you're talking about like the different thickness of plastic, or it could be more rounded. The way the battery is mounted, it has a square battery instead of a round battery. And so I think, and what makes me think of that is homing out an engine. My son he's blowing up these freaking engines trying to drift race. We've been our new hobby. And anyways, as we're trying to rebuild a block, we got to get it homed out. We got to bore a block out and home it. And in the engine world, they use these homing plates. So essentially it mimics a head, right? And so, because I guess if you home the cylinders of a bore out without that, they can be just a little bit out of round when you torque down your heads. And so that makes me think, I'm like, oh, so what you got to do is you got to torque this bolt. It's basically a head without the top, so it's cylinders, but you torque it down so that your engine block is torqued in the right position, and then you home it so that you home it, so it's round when it's torqued and it's not round when it's not torqued, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that when you're installed and you're running these performance engines, when you tighten everything down, now we know the engine block's round. And anyways, it makes me think, well, that maybe that battery in that TT25 is acting like one of them torque plates. You know what I mean? It's holding that case from microscopic twisting or vibration or whatever. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
because the GT15Xs have a round battery, and they're held on basically by a little metal clip. but it's not held in 4 positions, right? And so I just, little things like that, I go, they're just mechanically done differently. And I think that's the, so there's the way to fix it. And I don't know that Garmin has the, I don't know if they want to, because if they do find out that it's a casing, I mean, that's a headache for them on, building a new case or whatever. That's a whole nother product.
Yeah. I would assume it's pretty much out of the question for the 25 so far.
Yeah. So anyways, so anybody on bark detection, I got no good news for you.
Same as it's been for the last 2 years.
We got there, listen for your dog, listen. And then, start the whole fight. Every couple months I see a post show up in that troubleshooting Facebook page I made. And every time I'm like, yeah, somebody new comes in asking about bark detection in 25s. And I'm like, man, I thought everybody knew this by now, but nope.
No.
Yeah.
I still got some of the same people that bug me about it. I'm like, what do you want me to do about it? I wish it worked too.
Tell them to JB weld some little sticker on there and go test it. And but nobody wants to do the homework to try to figure it out, because it's complicated.
Well, and I would assume anytime you start monkeying with it, it's probably going to create some unintended consequences somewhere or another.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, here's the deal. Like, let's just say if you JB welded some, let's just take like those little metal S hooks.
Yep.
Let's just say, I mean, I'm just spitballing, but I'm like, if you JB weld one of them little metal S hooks on the side of your TT25 so it sticks out, then it picks up the vibrations and it changes the frequency of the collar and it works. But then when you trade that in, I'm gonna be like, oh man, this looks like crap, and I gotta try and explain this S hook to the next guy, So like, even if I could find a fix, I'm like, man, start hacking on, $350 collars is not exactly what I want to be telling customers to do either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yep.
So I just don't see a good solution.
Let me ask you this question. This is something that came up here this last week when I was hunting. A guy was with me, and he brought a coon dog. He wanted to try it on cats, and it didn't work out very well for him, and that dog ended up getting lost. But he was tracking, it's a TT15. He was tracking the dog just fine, and then all of a sudden the dog was gone. Like, could not track it at all. And we ended up driving running hot laps around that block, trying to wait for the dog to pop out and stuff. And I actually ended up finding it at a house that lived on a dead end road. I went in there to talk to them just to give them a heads up so they'd let me know if that dog showed up. And I walked out of their house, and here she comes up the driveway. Huh. And we took that collar off, hit the power button, and it turned on. It was just like that collar was off.
So
like somebody had turned that collar off.
So it just stopped transmitting, or I mean, completely.
Yeah, the collar turned off, and I've heard of this happening. Not very much, just a handful of times now. Throughout the life of Garmin GPS collars. When that happens, do you think that button gets pushed just right, which I don't see how it could?
So,
or do you think that collar has like some sort of glitch or whatever, and it just turns itself off?
I don't know. So I know early on in the TT10 days that a buckle hitting the charge ports would turn a collar off. So there was early days reports of like our dog collars, the nameplate collar stuff. If that little O-ring would hit the charging little pins on the collar
just right,
100%, it would shut it off. Like, and so for the most part, that I think that issue is fixed. I still, in the back of my head, I'm like, it's connected to the battery, and so if it does short out, like I think there's potential there, although it's not widespread anymore. You know what I mean? It was fairly common, and you could easily do it. It's pretty hard to do it that way now. I wouldn't rule out the fact that you probably still could do it if you were really aggressive with that. So, so I say that to say, okay, there's a possibility. That's one possibility. I think it's an unlikely possibility. I don't think that's what happened. You know, I'm not saying that is what I think would happen, but in my head, I'm like, could it have been that? You know what I mean? So let's chalk 5-10% that maybe did something like that. You know, some metal touched the charge prong, shorted out the collar. It overused the battery, and so when that happens, it kills the power to the device, and so it just loses, and then it can't turn back on. So once you turn it on, it goes back to normal. I've seen or heard issues where that would happen. When you first told me, I thought it was the GPS issue. There used to be an issue with 15s where they would just lose GPS, and so you'd be using them.
No, it was nothing. It was like that collar was off. I took that collar off, pushed the button, and beep, it beeped and turned right on. And I think it's pretty light, because you got to hold that button for a few seconds. It's like I suppose, a stick maybe or something could get in between that neck and that collar just right. But again, like that seems pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
But I know it happened to one of my cousin's dogs here last year or something, that collar turned off. I mean, and he was kind of afraid to use that collar for a while, almost like, all right.
Right.
Something wrong with this. And then finally he just started using it, has been using it ever since, and has never done it again. So
I think if where I would dig into is the battery, you know what I mean? Because those lithium ion batteries are so sensitive that if it, for protection reasons, you know what I mean? Like they really try to mitigate, not an unsafe environment. And so
they could get like a little bit of moisture in them or something like that, and detect a little bit of moisture and be like, oh, I'm just going to turn myself off before I start on fire.
Maybe. I've seen issues with 20. And so the other thing that I think about is I've seen issues with 15s where the battery would drop down. So let's say you had 100% battery life, and I seen this with myself, right? And this was 5-6 years ago. I don't know, but I would watch this collar, and I'd watch my battery go down just 20%, 10%. It'd go to the red, and I knew it was a charged battery, and then it would flick back up. And the reason I found that error was because my dogs kept going into 2-minute updates. And I'm like, why the hell are they going 2-minute updates?
Sure. Yeah.
And so I was really watching it, trying to figure out why were my dogs going to 2-minute updates. So I was watching this dog, and I watched it happen one time, and I was like, boo, I just watched the battery just drop, boom, and then pick back up. So it dropped down to like 10%. And so I don't know what caused that drop down to 10%, but what it did in my situation was it turned it to 2-minute update rates. And
sure.
Which sucked, because I was like, why is Della so far behind? You know what I mean? Why is my dog's not tracking?
Yeah.
I was seeing it because I was showing a dog way behind, and I was like, hell, Della's hurt. She's not in the race, or whatever it was that I was, watching. It didn't make sense. And then she'd jump up, and so I learned that she was 2-minute update. So I say that all to say, in that scenario, it could have easily dropped down to 5%, shut off, and then had no way to reboot back together. And I don't know if that was a software issue, you know what I mean? Like a battery software issue. So, a TT15, make sure they're updated.
When something only happens once, it's like, it's just like when you get a clunk in your car and you take it to the shop and it's not clunking anymore. It's like, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, you normally just drive it until it clunks a little more. It's like, it's clunking every time. Now we can fix it.
Exactly, but when it comes to a collar just shutting off, I mean, you don't want to be turning your dog loose and have a collar just shut off. That's always the dog that doesn't make the race too, every time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how good of a dog it is. But I know when we turned that collar on, we checked the battery right away, and it was not full, but almost full.
Yeah.
But it could have got cold or whatever and freaked itself out and then warmed back up too.
Yeah. Yeah. I would, the battery would be my first thing I would mess with. How old is the battery? And was the battery what caused it to turn off? And it could have been a momentary, collapse where the battery just momentarily thought, hey, I don't have juice or whatever it is. And so, I mean, it could have been related to that issue that I was talking about. If the software is old, I mean, the Garmin had to fix the software on it, but if you had rescue mode or whatever, like that would have normally that picks that up. I mean, you'd know that because it picks it up into rescue mode.
Sure.
So I don't know, man.
Sure.
Like that's the hard part with these and collars is, and rightly so. We you hear a clunk in your truck, and you normally have to wait until you hear it a couple times before you can fix it. And with these devices, we're expecting 100% all the time.
Yeah, and there's just a lot going on in there. Mm-hmm. We expect it to be 100% all the time, but the reality is it's not going to be. I mean,
no.
No matter what. I mean, they're basically a computer. I mean,
they are. Yeah.
You have issues. You have issues with computers frequently.
The amount of stuff,
especially when they start
and calculating, is pretty impressive. So,
I think the stuff is still very impressive. I mean, for what the dogs take them through, I mean, yeah, they're not perfect, but I've been pleasantly surprised.
I was talking to an engineer. Well, this is way back, like DC 30, DC 40 days, and was at a thing, and I don't know if we were at a dinner or what, I don't remember what, but I was sitting there BSing with them, and they go, buddy, who is the most hardest customer on our products? And I'm thinking, they're like the military, you got hunters, you got backpack, everybody thinks they're a badass, you know what I mean? He goes, the dog beats every one of them, man. The dog is just ruthless on our shit.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's true. They don't respect my shit. My dogs don't respect anything. They don't care.
They'll piss on your leg.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I that was kind of an eye-opening moment for me. That was like, huh. But yeah, they were like, man, we got military contractors. We got this. We do that, and man, dog beats everybody hands down. They're just ruthless. So who knows?
Makes a lot of sense.
Are you going to make WBHA this year?
I will. I don't know to what extent. It's always a little touch and go for me with the kids having so many activities going on and whatnot. We used to, like to try to get a hotel and stay there and stuff, but it's almost not an option anymore. At least for the time being.
How old are your kids?
Almost 12, 9 and 6.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that gets really tough. Like, I know my wife, especially because I was on the board for Oregon, but she had to, she's like, it just wasn't fun showing up to those things with kids. And even though you try to make it fun for the kids, it's always rough.
Yeah, it's I mean, I like to sit and watch the auction and stuff at WBHA, but take a 6-year-old boy and try to strap him to that trailer for 3 or 4 hours. Good luck, you know?
Yeah. No, it's
so
tough. We're trying to get our dinners going.
Definitely get there.
We're going to list we do a dinner there, which it's been fun for the folks that show up. You know, it didn't start as like where we were trying to make a big dinner out of it. It started out that we just needed something to eat. We had a couple people that we'd meet with and have dinner with every time we go down there, and we couldn't find a restaurant that could take, 15 to 20 people. And heck, now I think last year, I think we had 100 people show up at our dinner. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, it was, my daughter and I went last year, and it was fun. It was very enjoyable. It's kind of nice to, a little bit more of a relaxed setting, and, you kind of got your little crew or whatever you can bullshit with, and then intermingle a little bit with the other people that are there. And it's not quite the rat race as it is out in the normal convention. And it was very enjoyable. And I know my daughter had a lot of fun. You guys play a lot of games and stuff. So
yeah, we did an auction
enjoyable
last time where we had these little coin, not worth real money, like little token coins that everybody got. I don't know if it was 10 per dinner ticket or whatever, and I mean, people were combining them together. And I don't know if your daughter was in on that, where they were trying to buy something at an auction. It was what do they call it? A silent or it's like a survivor auction is what we tried to model off of, where it was like sudden death auction. So it's like nobody knew when the auction was going to end. And, we had so many things.
Yeah, that was nerve-wracking. You didn't know if you wanted to hold out or if you better get something while you could, and if you wanted to pull your money with everybody at the table, or it was interesting.
Yeah, I was nervous. I was like, man, are we gonna make it or not? I think we made it through quite a few of them, but yeah, it was a little crazy. People were pooling money together and finding money that I didn't know where they could, plastic money, like little plastic coins. But yeah, you're either gonna walk home with a bag of plastic coins that were worth nothing, or you might have got I think one of the prizes was like a collar, and we tried to get a dog lead. Yeah. So I don't know.
You guys gonna do some of that stuff again at the dinner?
We'll try and do something. I think we might. We'll see if people like that. We'll probably try and do that again. I think try to make sure we keep it. Make sure that everybody knows the rules. But yeah, we're trying to figure out what to do for fun, just to have some fun, kill some time.
I imagine it probably kind of depends on how many people you're going to have attending it too, because if you get too many people, then it probably makes it even more difficult, to.
Well, and
that's a lot of.
Yeah, one of the problems that we had is we didn't bring enough of them coins that we had. For some reason, we forgot. So we had them all in the packets, but then we didn't have. We're supposed to bring a couple more bags so that like throughout the day people could earn a few more if they bought something, they would get some more coins. And so that, ideally I wanted different amounts of coins out in the room. And so if we do it again, we're going to have to try to figure that out. Being like, hey, like, but there were people people were gambling. I think we had some way to like gamble coins at the tables.
I do remember that. I don't remember exactly. I know there was a couple games at the tables too that you played.
Yeah.
Amongst yourselves at the table. Yep.
Yeah. So people could kind of gamble a token or two, and one guy might pick up 6 tokens, and then everybody loses 1 token. And anyways, so we'll probably try and do something like that. I don't know if Jess has got that on the website now. If not, it'll be here real soon. I think we're going to launch this podcast and next week. Probably not today. But yeah. Anyways, I wanted to just been trying to figure that out.
Do you cap that at so many people, or
the room will only fit 160? So
sure.
So we're getting close to Yeah, it's 100 is what we had last year. I think 110 or something because I think we sold.
So you got a room for a few extras.
Yeah,
but not many. So you better get them early if you want them.
If you want, and we it's a decent dinner. I don't know if they're doing. I think she said sirloin and chicken or something. I don't know. We try and get a good dinner. Most of the money, it's like $50 or $55 for a ticket, which I honestly say like $45 of that goes straight to the catering company, and then like $10 of it we go into trying to make sure that we got some fun raffle items, and I think you'll get a packet with a t-shirt voucher. We try to make it. We really do try to make it so that when you spend $55 for a dinner ticket, you feel like you get a good deal.
I thought it was worth it.
Hopefully,
food was good.
Yeah, it's good for me because we come out of there, we're hungry, man. It's on Saturday. We're like, point it to
and you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah. There's a bar there, some drinks and stuff like that, and you get a visit with people. So anyways, if you're in Wisconsin, you go on WBHA and you want to join us for dinner, look us up. You got to buy the tickets ahead of time because we don't sell them at the door. Like we'll be sold out. We gotta give them the catering numbers like a week or 2 weeks, a week or two before the event. We gotta finalize our numbers. So you can find that on DU's website. Join the fight, call us, whatever you want. Cool. Well, Ross, I don't even know how long we've been going for. We're almost a little under an
hour or so.
Is there anything that we need to touch on? I want to touch on the podcast. You think we could do this a little more consistently?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially cat season's winding down from here. For me now, I only got a week left. So that's all. I mean, Heath and I, it took us over 2 months to finally connect to do that podcast, because we'd pick a day and I'd be like, actually the weather's going to be pretty good. So I think I'm going to go hunting. And then we'd pick another day and he'd be like, actually I'm going to go hunting. Yeah. It took us 2 months. It was tricky, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't make it work. I know I thought you said once a month or twice a month you were thinking, and not more than that, which I would be completely fine with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. And I actually had a guy call in today asking about podcast. He was actually thinking about starting one over West Virginia. He was actually one of our members, and so I talked to him a little bit this morning. I said, man, do it. Like, depending on what your motivations are, he's like, I just want to get on bullshit with guys and, talk to some of the old timers. I'm like, yeah, we could definitely. So I'm open to the podcasting ideas. You know what I mean? Like there's been some changes. That's one thing I told him I would talk about was, some of the podcast hosts that we had, and touching on Born 100 Years Too Late, and what is it, Chris Watson, when they would do, I don't know, their Monday night, what do they call it, Monday Night Lives or something. I forget what that other podcast or the group was.
I don't remember either.
Essentially, what I had to apologize to, and I need to apologize to everybody listening that we just went missing in action, is, there's been some changes. So Heath and Steve Fielder, Heath Hyatt, Steve Fielder, they have been absolute studs, just keeping their pace going. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's reliability. The only reason there's been a podcast is because those two guys have been continuing to kept it going, right? And so I've always known that I'm flaky and I'm not reliable. It's like, I'm just going to say it right now is I don't have a team behind me like Jess or whatever, or somebody. And that's kind of why I reached out to you, is because I need somebody that can hold me a little bit accountable. And I also need to do it during the daytime. I just need to do it during work hours, because it's easier for me to slip out away from my desk and do this than it is for me to try and arrange to meet up with a guest after hours where it's like, I gotta, was it 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock? Well, this doesn't work for me. And, I mean, like the whole rigmarole of busy schedules. And I just got to not be super flexible. It's just got to be like, hey, we do this this is a job for me, and it happens during job hours. And so that's easy for me to cut away from my desk and go, I'm going to go do this. And so I reached out to you because I felt like, except, you are skipping out of your job, but you're your own boss, and you can kind of make a little bit of skip out on work.
Yep. I got after it this morning to make up for
it. Did you? We should, anyway, before I forget. So born 100 years too late. Brett Vaughn, he's been so busy, and he's working on his YouTube, and his priority and his motivation is that YouTube channel. So like, I know he's talked in the past. He's supposed to have some interviews, and he does a great interview, and I know a lot of people like his stuff. It's just not a consistent enough basis, and he wants to distribute his stuff to YouTube because that's where he's getting paid. You know what I mean? He's getting, money from YouTube, and he's getting a good paycheck from them, and I just can't compete with that. I mean, I can't compete paying, with YouTube. And so his stuff, you're going to have to go to YouTube and get it on his channel. Chris Watson, I think, would be he kind of took over for Brett. So when we first did our deal with Brett, it was supposed to be, I don't know if it was once a week, and he was doing the Monday Night Lives or whatever. And so every week we would have content, and then he would, supposed to once a month have a good interview. You know what I mean?
sit down with somebody.
Yeah, go travel somewhere, sit down with some old timer. The stuff he does really good. Like, he's done interviews, tales, and whatever his podcast channel is, or his YouTube channel is. And he gets busy. I think he had some health issues. I mean, I'm not like whatever, but it just never came to fruition. And so that's kind of what happened there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna say we don't miss them. You know what I mean? Their stuff was good, but I'm not gonna. We weren't able to afford, trying to compete with YouTube either. So we just had to go with the guys, Heath and Steve. They kept our stuff going. I don't know if Chris Watson's still giving his, Monday nights or whatever they are. They're found on YouTube. So if you're trying to find those guys, go look up YouTube and find them. I know Brett Vaughn is on YouTube. Born 100 Years Too Late is his big channel. And then he has another YouTube channel called Houndsman Interviews and Tales, I think, or something like that. If you go chase that down, you might find some of his content that you're looking for. I don't know if he's still posting it or not. I literally haven't found out. Circle back to the W podcast with me. If people want me to shut up and leave, just let me know. I'm out the door. Like, I'll be done. But I'm going to try to get on here once a month, maybe twice a month is my goal, maybe every other week. And just bullshit. And I'm not going to promise that it's going to be the greatest podcast, or, like, it may be boring. We may be talking about stuff you don't care about. We may be talking about the beeper collar that's for a bird dog. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly got more sometimes right now to talk about on my son's drift car and the freaking shit that I'm having to learn. We're breaking stuff faster than I can fix it. But you know what I mean? I don't know what's going to come up on conversation. So I don't want to pigeonhole it down to say this is only going to be a hound podcast, where I only talk about hounds. We're going to talk about dogs. We're going to talk about W, how our lives are going. If there's topics that people want us to talk about and touch on, please send them in. Like, I'm totally an open book, and
and make it easier.
What were we supposed to talk about? We started talking yesterday. You had a question. We're gonna wrap up on your question yesterday. I just remembered.
Are you sure you want to get into this now, or you want to save this for the next one?
Oh, maybe we should save it for the next one. But we're gonna tease on the next one so we can get some input. I don't even know if we want to wrap the Band-Aid off of the.
So I brought up the topic of some of these states trying to close out non-resident hound hunters.
And you're specifically kind of talking about Nevada.
Well, just
started.
Because that's just because that's what's at the table right now. But in my opinion, Montana pretty much did the same thing. Well, how many years ago was that? 3 years ago, right. 3 or 4 years ago, when they more or less made it impossible for non-residents to take their own hounds there and hunt.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough one because there's like, we were talking on the phone, getting ready. And I was like, "Oh, ask me that on the podcast. We'll talk about." And now I don't got a microphone over me. I don't want to talk about it.
I'm not afraid to talk about it, but
I'm going to piss somebody off. That is really interesting. But I seen it come up from Nevada, right? Because there was some turmoil with some guys that approached the commission about limiting lion. I want to say lion, and I'd have to look at the full details. I don't want to generalize what the petition was, but I will say that I can definitely see their side too. And what I was going to mention to you was if I took their side, so if I'm gonna, I don't know where I land on the decision, right? So like there's definitely, I think, we need to allow people to go hunt different states, so especially out west and different things. Now, with that said, I can fully appreciate how frustrating it is for somebody, and I was talking to, and I'll just, one of the people in Nevada, right, that was on the petition, and they got called out, and one of the statements was, well, if you can't, get up early enough to go catch a cat, you need to put your dogs away or whatever. They're saying that, basically that they were trying to lock people out because they were trying to hog all the game and keep it to themselves, right? Because that's the argument, right? Is essentially, F you, you don't own the game, and you don't own the woods, and you don't own this, and if you can't catch a cat, that's your own problem. And I kind of get that, right? It's like, personally for me, I don't want to get my ass up at 2 a.m. and start running roads out. I'd love to get up at 6, grab a cup of coffee, go hit the road, start driving it at first light, and just hunt at my pace. And normally in the woods I hunt, I can find a track, or I can find something to mess with or whatever. And I'm lucky that I'm not in a high pressure area. So, I mean? Like I don't want to be in a high pressure area. But with that said, the argument that was the most resonating with me from them was, hey buddy, we're not jealous that we can't catch a cat. We're not jealous that we got to get up at 2 to try to beat people to run the tracks. What pisses us off, or what irritates us, is we pass that female and we leave that female, and then some out-of-stater comes in and they don't know any better, and they just grab that female and they whack it, and they go harvest that female. It's like, we knew where that female was. That was our quote unquote pet, right? That was the awesome one, but we're getting outside pressure that comes in, and they don't have the same standards that we do. And so on that standpoint, I'm like, that would irritate me too. You know what I mean? Like that statement is like, and so I've thought a lot, and I always come back to, go ahead.
So here's my argument to that. And I know I've seen some of the names on this petition. I know they're good people. They're people I respect, not that I know them personally, but I know that they're good hunters.
Yeah.
So
I got good customers on both sides of this argument, like 100%, like both sides.
I'm more interested in opening up the conversation, but this is my perspective on the argument you just had. I went to Montana for 10 years. You know how many lions I killed? 1. My goal, I never went out thinking I'm going to shoot a lion this trip. Like, I was going out thinking, I hope I get to run my dogs almost every day. Eventually I would like to shoot a nice tom. That's the only option.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to pass up a female track to go looking for a big tom. I just want to run my dogs. And if I stumble on a big tom eventually, maybe I'll take it. And that's what happened. I went out there for 10 years, and I think on like the 9th year or something, I ended up killing a nice tom. And that argument that you gave, the same exact thing happens to me at home with resident hunters.
Yeah.
I've killed 7 cats this year. All 7 of them are toms. And I'm not saying that I want to kill a female or whatever. I mean,
right.
Obviously my preference is to only kill toms, but I've passed up a lot of female tracks this year, only targeting toms. And thankfully I've been able to find nice toms when I've needed to find nice toms.
Yeah.
But a resident, somebody that hunts right next to me that I've known my whole life, I know if they were out hunting and found some of those female tracks that I found, I know they would have killed them. And I'm not saying I necessarily blame them, but what I'm getting at is I don't think just getting rid of your non-residents is going to solve that problem, because I know that there's residents that do that too.
For sure.
And, coming from a state in Wisconsin here where non-residents has the exact same opportunities that I do. They can draw a bear tag the same amount of years. They can draw a cat tag the same amount of years. They don't need any license to come train their hounds during training season. They can just show up and do it. Like, there is absolutely no, other than if you get a tag, obviously a non-resident tag costs a little bit more than a resident tag, but it is, non-residents have the exact same opportunities that I do here.
Yeah.
So when I live in a state that is so welcoming to non-residents like that, it's extremely frustrating for me to see other states that are trying to.
And I think that's pretty valid. I honestly think that's really valid. And my thought was that at some point we need to separate the pursuit side of things, the training, and the harvest. You know what I mean? Like, that's my thinking is, because it sounds like that's what Wisconsin does, right? Is I can't just go over there and buy a bobcat tag, or can I?
No, well, in Wisconsin now, say it takes 5 years to draw a bobcat tag. That's about what it is. I mean, yeah, early seasons in Southern Zone or whatever is a little different, but just if it takes me 5 years to draw a bobcat tag, which it does right now, you can apply and draw one in 5 years as well.
Okay.
So you can get a bobcat or a bear, and bear works the same way.
So bear is a draw rate too. So to harvest a bear or a bobcat, you've got to go through a draw. You got to draw the harvest tag. Preference
points. Yep. So,
okay.
A preference point system works, basically the minimum number of points to draw is 5.
Yeah.
So if you have more than 5 points, you're going to get a tag for sure. And there's no separation between non-residents and residents. It's not like other Western states where the non-residents only get 10% or something like that. And I'm completely fine with that. Like, if you don't want to give me a harvest tag every year, or you're only going to give 10% harvest tags to non-residents, I'm fine with that. But don't tell me I can't come and run my dogs there.
Yeah.
And my interpretation of it is, because I don't, and this could be me just going out on a little bit. When I see these things pop up, like is in Nevada right now, I don't see the outfitters pushing for that. And to me, it just makes it look like they don't want the competition.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean?
I've stayed out of the conversation, like mostly because like I said, I've got plenty of customers on both sides, like 100%. So whatever I say, I'm going to piss somebody off. Like that's just the way it's going to go. Like story of my life. If I don't piss off a customer, I'm going to piss off my wife or somebody else. Like there's going to be something I do wrong. But with that said, and I don't know the answer because the Western seasons are so different, meaning, I mean, shoot, in Washington, and now again, you can't do it with hounds, but it's a general, it's a $10 or $20 bear tag. You know what I mean? Like it's a general tag license, for there. You can go shoot 2 bears. You know what I mean? You get the first bear and you can go shoot a second bear. Now you can't do it with dogs. And so I don't know, Idaho limits the hound handlers.
You got to draw non-resident hound handler permit in Idaho.
Yeah. So
Montana's the same way.
And then the bear and cougar are basically over the counter. And so, and the worry with me is you'd have to restructure it some ways to almost be like Wisconsin, where it's like, okay, and maybe I catch some flack for this, right? But it should, and here's the question, right? I'm asking the question. I'm not saying I know the answer, but I'm asking the question. Should harvest of a cougar be a draw? However you want to make that draw easy or you want to make that draw harder, should it be a draw? You know what I mean? And that's the first question. And I can tell you there'll be some pushback, especially for Washington. If we went to a draw, there would be so much pushback with the lack of trust in our commission, right? And so our Fish and Wildlife, and so it would just boil over to the hunters going, oh, they're trying to shut it down. It's the anti, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know that it could be done. I don't think California, Washington, Oregon, I think there's too much pressure that if you were to try and, I don't even say limit harvest, but if you were trying to change it from a general season hunt to a draw hunt, there would just be some serious pushback because the mentality has always been, I can go bear hunt whenever I want. I can go shoot 2 bears.
So what Wisconsin used to do is we had, for bears anyways, we had a Class A permit, which is an actual harvest permit, which you draw based off a preference point system. But then they also had a Class B permit, which is just a pursuit license.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now they completely got rid of that pursuit license. So you don't need anything to just like, you could just show up on July 1st with a truck full of dogs and run bears, and you don't need to purchase any sort of license to do it. I think that's kind of dumb. I think Wisconsin's leaving a lot of money on the table,
yeah.
Doing that. But I guess my argument is there's ways that you can do it and still limit the harvest like you want to.
Yeah.
And still allow opportunity, because it all comes down to this for me. Look what happened in Colorado last year, trying to shut down cat hunting.
Yeah.
How much out of state money was spent by guys that like to go out to Colorado and run their dogs and hunt lions or whatever? How much money did non-residents pitch into that? A lot. So now what happens if that same deal is proposed in Nevada? and Nevada just told non-residents basically you can't come hunt here. It's
Right.
like, okay, so now you want me to send you a bunch of money to help you fight this when just last year you told me that I can't come and run my dogs there anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's
no, that's
just
fair. Like,
it's
I definitely see that. I see that. You know, we do need to be in the same boat. Like, I definitely agree that we need to stick together. Like, there's no doubt that you know, limiting across state lines is not the answer. Like, you know what I mean? Like making it so out of state. Now, with that said, I would like to see people everywhere treat pursuit different than harvest. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And being like, okay, if we're trying to fix a harvest problem, an over harvest problem, or shooting females instead of males or whatever,
a killing female problem. Yeah,
exactly. Like, we can fix that for you. We can do that with good houndsmen, with good ethics, and saying, hey, we're going to have a male harvest and a female harvest. And when the female harvest, I mean, like, I don't like it, but when that closes, it closes. And there's still some frustrations there because, guys will be like, well, if I don't shoot one before it closes, whatever, like, there's back in Washington in the day when the last, cougar that we captured, we caught, we passed several females, and there was always that shot clock that's like, well, there's only one female left. You know what I mean? Like, is somebody else going to shoot it, or is, maybe we don't get a lion because as soon as somebody shoots a female, this quota's done. And we stuck to our guns and was like, nope, we're here for a nice one or no cat. You know what I mean? And we were okay passing, and so we'd catch the females, and one female left, and we catch that female, and we walk away from the tree, and you'd call into the hotline that night, holding your breath, going, hopefully I get to go out tomorrow. Of course, you could pursue after that. So that was the benefit was, even when it did close, even after the quota did close, heck,
you could still hunt. Yeah.
There was only a couple of us out there still hunting, or still pursuing, so like that mentality of harvest and pursuit, I think, is the answer to the houndsmen is saying, hey, all houndsmen have the ability to pursue. No problem. Now, when you want to harvest one, now we jump into the quotas and we let game managers manage that, because I can tell you a story that I had a guy, not a houndsman, was at a dinner or barbecue or something like that. We were just bullshitting. And he was like, oh, I'm going to go to Nevada, whatever. And I think it was Nevada. I mean, it was Wyoming. I don't know it was where. But they were going lion hunting. And they had a buddy that had dogs that were going to take them. And so I was like, oh, right on, playing it down, whatever. Just listen to it. And anyways, whenever I come to the story, I'm low key asking him some questions, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, let me see where this goes. I kind of know, and I'm like, oh, he's like, yeah, we got about 4 of us are going over there, and I go, okay, yeah, who's going to shoot? He goes, hopefully we all get one. And I'm thinking, okay,
good luck.
Yeah, I'm like, I was like going over there for 5 days or 10 days or whatever it was. It was maybe a week, they'd take a week off, and I just kind of like, that's a tall order, I was like, you guys probably should focus on one, you know what I mean? Like, it might take you, getting one lion but that mentality was what, what I seen. And that was not the houndsman, you know what I mean? Of course, there was a hound guy involved in that, you know what I mean? There was definitely a hound guy over there kind of making that happen or whatever. And so it was afterwards, maybe a couple weeks after they were gone, I come back and I shoot a text. I'm like, hey, how'd you guys do? It's like, oh, we got one. And I was like, right on, no pictures, no nothing. And I'm like, okay, I know what that means. You know what I mean? Like, and luckily they didn't get 5 of them or 4 of them. You know what I mean? Like, it was hard, but I don't want to say I don't want to use the word desperate, but everybody has an idea. You know what I mean? Like a non-seasoned houndsman has just learned. You know what I mean? You just learn that it's like what's going to happen, what could happen, what the possibilities are. Like you go into to Canada, you know what I mean? Like shit could go south, and it's like, man, it could be an easy hunt or it could be a hard hunt. But when you got deer and elk hunters or whatever it is, and they're going on their lion hunt, you know, whether it's guided or not guided or whatever,
they think it's going to be easy.
They think, oh man, this is going to be awesome. And, you know, they got a buddy that goes, you know, buddy or two that goes with them, and you get a group, and it's like, oh, we're all going over here. And it's like, you know, we all go whack a deer. Even deer hunting sometimes is tough like that. You know what I mean? Everybody gets their expectations up, and it's like, man, you really gotta grind to do it right. Mm-hmm. And so that portion of it is like, I can see trying to figure out that problem. You know what I mean? Like I do sympathize with the fact that, you know, especially lions, that out of state pressure, even some of them at times as non-hound guys, that when they go over there and they travel a week,
their one goal is, if they're coming back empty-handed, it's a wasted trip.
They don't care what they come back with. And so on that is my one sympathetic line that I'm like, okay, I don't know how to fix that short of separating pursuit and separating harvest, because the houndsmen care about the pursuit. Good houndsmen, you know what I mean? Like guys that are in this for the long haul.
Yep.
And it's hard. Like it's really hard to pass up, especially if it's your first lion. Oh my gosh. Like you got a lot wrapped up into it, and you know what I mean? Like
I probably saw 40 before I shot one. Maybe not 40, but a bunch.
But most people don't have most people aren't that way, Ross. Like,
yeah,
if more people were like that, I don't think we'd have any problem.
Yeah.
But
as being somebody who is like that, it frustrates me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I just went to Canada, and I told Stuart, I'm like, dude, the only way I am paid to go to Canada, and before I went, I told Stuart, I'm like, the only way I am shooting one is if it is a monster and on the last day. And even then, I don't think I will.
Yeah.
You know, like I've already got one. I don't know.
And that's the right way of thinking. Like, and that's the way that I would say most seasoned hound guys think. You know what I mean? Guys that have been doing this for a while. Like there's the new guys that go through the different phases or whatever, and I don't know how you manage those different levels. You know what I mean? You'd be like, oh, you're an A, you get the A card, you get the B card, you get the C card. You get your ass out of the woods. We don't need you here. You know what I mean? I don't know how you do that. Could. Yeah. I mean,
give me those cards. I'll hand them out.
Exactly. But yeah, whatever. Like W. Oh. So anyways, that was what we were talking about. And I see both sides. Like I definitely do. And again, my only way of thinking is if we could separate the harvest and we could separate the pursuit and be like, everybody's welcome to pursue. That you come over here, have a good time, pursue, catch and release. Absolutely. No problem. Let's have a blast. Now, when we're going to harvest, we got objectives. We want to make sure that we're harvesting mature, you know, animals or whatever. And, you know, not just taking the cat because the opportunity is there, but taking the cat because it's the right one to take. You know,
taking the right cat
and trying to figure out how to do that. And I would assume that's somewhat similar on bears. I don't know. I'm not as dialed into the bear. You know, is not.
Yeah, not on the bear side of it. And
But do you feel that there's some insensitive? Here's my question to you: do you feel that there's I said insensitive. I said it wrong. Incentive incentive. There we go. I can't even think right now.
Incentive.
Incentive. Yep. Because it's so hard to draw a bear tag, or you got to wait, that you're going to get a good bear. Like, you make that, does that make it incentive for you? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely happens. We take, we kill 12 bears a year, and you get people that are like, I'm not eating my tag, period.
Right.
Whatever you can put in the tree for me is, I'll shoot it. And you're never going to get rid of all of it. That's just the way it is. Now, me personally, I've drawn 3 bear tags in Wisconsin, and I've never shot one.
Right.
I've ate my tag all 3 times, and I just ate my bobcat tag this year. And I caught a nice tom when I was by myself.
Right.
And I don't know. That's not why I do it. I mean,
yeah,
I keep applying for the tags and putting my money into the pool and drawing a tag. And I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm bear hunting and my dogs bay up a 500-pound bear and I'm the only one, there's no other tag there, I'm going to shoot it. But I'm not going to shoot just a mediocre bear on the last day just so I don't eat my tag. It doesn't, no, it doesn't bother me. But you're never going to get rid of all the people that are just going to shoot anything just because. I mean, you can't count on the hunters to 100% police that. I mean, hopefully you can count on the biologists and the states to help you out with that. Obviously,
and I think there's some room for that.
Completely different conversation.
But making the tag hold some value, I think people, it's like, oh, get a nice one. I don't know. It's one of them things that I'm just not sure. I don't know what the answer is.
I just had this conversation with my cousin. So in Wisconsin, it used to take you close to 10 years to draw a bobcat tag. And right now you can draw one in between 3 and 5 years. I think they're giving out way too many tags.
Right.
But I told my cousin, I'm like, I wonder if we're almost to the point where we would be better off just giving everybody a tag every year. Because maybe people would care less then if you knew that you could just get a tag tomorrow. Right now we're at that point.
If you draw a tag, you feel like you got to use it.
Exactly. We're still at that point where you're applying just long enough that you feel like you got something in your pocket that you better not let go to waste, but still it only takes you 3, it's not like it's a once in a lifetime hunt. I mean, you still only got 3 years before you can draw another one. Whereas if you just get one every year, people are like, if I don't get one this year, oh, well, maybe I'll go next year.
Yeah. No.
And I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. What I'm hoping happens is to just create some conversation about it. And to be honest with you, with the National Houndsman Alliance or whatever that was kind of picking up steam for a little bit there. And, now I haven't heard anything about it for a while. I was kind of hoping that was one thing they would tackle and kind of just try to get us all on the same page.
Yeah.
And not fighting against each other so much. Like, I don't want you here. I don't want you here taking my bobcats and you don't want me there shooting your lions, and let's work together.
Yeah. No, definitely
and let's
do that,
fight this thing as a whole.
100%. I think it's, the challenge is there's Western hunting states, which are different, especially in the predator management, and we're under attack hardcore, what I mean? Like, even just bear hunting
constantly,
so,
yep.
So like it's take away the hounds, but just the bear hunting in Washington state, they want to do it in Oregon or whatever, all these different states, California, hound, like, there's so many different dynamics. And then it's, what we're really talking about earlier is people motivation. So we're not managing the game. We're managing people and people's desires or your intent, or, I mean, like what the perceived value is by giving them a tag, so, like my example of the four guys, that were going to come over and go lion hunting. Each one, spent the $100 and something, whatever the tag is. I don't know what it is in Nevada, but everybody spent that, and each one of them had a little bit of hope, that they were going to be successful. So it's like they bought that tag just to be safe and be like, just in case. Oh, yeah. If I see one, I can shoot it. Right. And so in there, and that's a human dynamic. That's not and that's what's really interesting about some of this stuff is they're not managing the game animal. They're managing humans, and they're managing, humans, value. And so it's like, and then there's money, of course there's, they can make money here or there selling this tag or what tag. And so it's like, man, it just gets really stupid, convoluted. And I don't know what the answer is, whether it's to open it up or whether it's to, I don't want to say shut it down, because I damn sure anytime we shrink some opportunity,
you don't get it back.
Exactly. And it's like,
rarely. Montana's bear season is a rarity.
It would be awesome if we could have 100% for sure. It's like we can manage this animal the way we want to manage it and make decisions and not worry about some stupid anti-hunters coming in and taking the wind out of it and pushing it over the edge. And because that's another topic is we make decisions because we're afraid of what the antis are going to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, if we limit opportunity here, then they come in and want to limit it more. You know what I mean? And so, damn, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know what's going to happen. It's definitely getting convoluted. So,
well, if anybody listens to this that's from Nevada or whatever and wants to have a conversation or whatever, I'm open to it.
Yeah, I know. They talked about wanting to do a podcast. They may not want to now because it may be blown over. Maybe we stir it back up. I don't know.
I haven't heard anything about it recently. I don't know if that's something that's still.
I don't think it ever.
Yeah.
I don't think so. To be fair, I don't think it was ever a solid proposal. I don't think it was ever introduced in any formality. Like, it was a point brought up as a problem, meaning that people were feeling as houndsmen in their areas, they know the game, they know the ground, they know the woods, right?
Yep.
And so that group, I don't think they were necessarily doing it to lock people out. I think they were doing it to say, hey, we're going to have a problem if we don't fix, X, Y, Z.
If we don't do something about this.
And for people that aren't going in that woods and don't have the history and the tempo of the woods there, it's easy to argue that, but it's like, okay, well, what happens when there is absolutely nothing in your neck of the woods? You know what I mean? Like, you want them to manage your area. So I think it was more of a conversation that once it got out and was discussed over Facebook, it took on a whole new life. And you know what I mean? It turned into a political argument on social media, and there was absolutely no formal procedure, formal commission, recommendation. I don't think there was anything formal on that, except for a note to somebody saying, hey, we kind of got a problem or whatever it is, and trying to explain what they felt were the problem. And I think everybody backed off, mostly because.
Well, then not.
Yeah.
So Nevada doesn't feel like I'm calling them out. I mean, I when Montana did it a few years ago, I mean, I was pissed because I'm like, damn it, I've been going there for 10 years, and now you tell me I can't. So it's not, it's just that whole mentality in general,
Yeah.
Not necessarily directed at just Nevada.
No. And I would 100% on Pursuit. I am 100%, like 100%. Like, I think Pursuit needs to be anywhere and everywhere. Like, that would be where I would.
If you want to go, you can go.
I think so. I think that's I'll say that's, if you're looking at the problems, let's take care of the easy problems. You know what I mean? And I think we need to really prioritize Pursuit and be like, hey, that's what's really important to us. At least that's what's important to me. I'm just gonna say that's the most important piece to me is Pursuit. To be able
that's what should be the most important.
And I think we need to reemphasize the fact that Pursuit should be the most easily opportunity. It's a win for money. You know, the state can make money on it. The animals can be, I don't say acclimated or whatever, not acclimated, but hazed or whatever you want to have a negative, try to avoid humans. You know what I mean? Like all of these different things. I think there's a lot of benefits in Pursuit, and I just like to see that pushed more. And then the harder question and the harder thing, because you get into human behaviors and stuff like that, is harvest. And that's where it's like, okay, now we got to sit down and really have a difficult discussion on that one. But we got to get to the point where Pursuit is, every one of these states would be awesome to push a Pursuit season.
That would be awesome.
So, anyways, well, Ross,
all right,
we just chewed up another 30 minutes.
I told you. Are you sure you want to get going on this?
If we didn't piss you off, we'll come up with another topic next week. So, if you're listening to this and you were like, man, do you want us to shoot us a message, an email, find me on Facebook, find Ross, whatever. Like, give us some conversations, give us some topics, maybe some people or whatever, and we're just gonna try and do this a little more consistently.
And Buddy says he doesn't care how spicy it gets, so whatever you want to hear, let us have it.
Burn it down. We have nothing left, man. Well, I had 2 customers and I pissed them both off, so now I got nothing. I got all day we do a podcast. All right, Ross.
All right, man.
Well, good chatting with you. Are you guys getting that cold weather? Or?
It was 26 below when I woke up, and I think it got up to 12 below today, so she's brutal.
Yeah, sunny, and I don't know, probably 40, 45. Everywhere's talking about weather, but we can't even get any snow. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's brutal. We got, I think, honestly, all next week. It'll be a little bit better next week, but not much.
Right. Cool. All right, Ross, I'm going to hit stop here.